Where in Chicago? A quiz show. He's in our studio right now. Thank you for coming in, Geoffrey.
It's my pleasure. My first quiz show ever.
Really?
And
yes.
This is Chicago, so I have to ask the obligatory question, is it rigged?
You can enter as many times as you want.
Right, of course.
So this isn't like your typical, like Jeopardy, where you have Burt Reynolds and Sean Connery in a panel. You go out into the hustings or whatever.
That is right.
You visit certain sites. It's kind of like Geoffrey walking, stuff like that.
Is.
Tell us about the concept of the show.
Well, we've been doing these shows where I'm sort of on Channel 11 giving you a tour of Chicago for like 20 years now, but we've never done something like this. We went out on the streets of Chicago to different places, and I dressed up like a quiz show host with my pocket square and my microphone with the mic flag on it that says "Where in Chicago." And we just walked up and accosted people on the street and asked them what they know about the history of Chicago. And we found great people. They're hilarious, and it was a fun experience.
Now, when you do these man-on-the-street interviews, when you accost people, as you say, are you doing it like in the neighborhood or around the attraction that you're asking about? So, that, in other words, do you know where the bean is? And you're asking somebody who's standing in front of the bean if you know where it is.
I actually did something like that a few years ago. I not in this show. In this show, it's more, we just go to. We went to Navy Pier, we went down to Hyde Park, we went to Chinatown. But we were asking questions about the whole Chicago region. But I did actually do a show a few years ago where I stood at the corner of Michigan and Wacker, and I said, "Have you ever heard of Fort Dearborn?" "Yes." "Do you know where it was?" "No." And then I'd say, "Look down." And they were literally standing on the historical marker embedded in the sidewalk.
Geoffrey, use a line from another quiz show. What's my line? Let's flip over all the cards.
All right.
Let's start asking.
So I'm going to ask you guys some quiz questions.
Oh boy.
Test your knowledge.
I know the answer.
You do?
Armour Square Park. Okay, it's across the street at Comiskey, the old Comiskey. Is that the answer?
Victor Hugo.
Okay.
No. Yeah. I heard a ding there.
Yeah.
We've actually got quiz show
We've got sound
That is
effects.
You're hearing
awesome.
things.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll start with an easy one.
All right.
It's a trick question, though. What county is Chicago in?
It's a trick question because you would say Cook, but it's not.
It's in more than one county.
Really?
Well, Dan's been to all the counties. It's in Maroon County.
It's the much anticipated Lincoln County, which doesn't exist, or
It's in Cook and DuPage County. A little corner of O'Hare Airport is in DuPage County.
that is good, right? Because the airport. Oh, very nice.
You talk about gerrymandering.
That's good.
Yeah,
That's
about
ridiculous.
it.
All right, ask us another question.
Okay.
Geoffrey Baer, host of Where in Chicago?
How many? You wouldn't believe how many people got this wrong. How many stars are on the Chicago
4!
flag? There you go. What do they stand for?
Faith, hope, charity, and bribes.
Yes, right.
I don't know.
Yes, the cardinal virtues of Chicago.
They stand for
I got a question for you, Geoffrey.
All right,
Baer.
go.
Okay, here
go.
we go. Name the sportscaster who was fired by Channel 32
God.
for keying a car after 18 and a half years of wonderful, dedicated service to the Field Communication Network.
It starts with a B. Bruce Fox.
That's good enough. All right, I got one more question for you.
Okay.
Name the first host of the very first 4:30 in the morning television show called Barely Today on Channel 5. Name that host.
I do not know. Who was it?
There could be a self-indulgent host that's in this room.
Yes. Sorry.
Yeah.
All right, go, Geoffrey Baer, go ahead, ask us another question.
I was thinking, I do
Geoffrey
history,
Baer,
so I'm thinking like 1954, 1956. Jay's Potato Chip Company started
Can't stop eating them.
to supply chips to Wrigley Field, Jewel Foods, or Al Capone.
Al Capone.
Yeah.
That's easy, but that's interesting.
I only know that from reading Gus Russo's The Outfit, but I don't remember why.
Al Capone went out east and he saw some potato chips and he came home and he talked to the guy who supplied the snacks for his speakeasies, Leonard Japp. J-A-P-P.
Yes.
And he made him an offer he couldn't refuse.
And the guy made Mrs. Japp's potato chips. Then World War II broke out, and they changed the name to
Did
Jay.
you know that
Right,
Jay's
right.
slogan actually was a twist on Capone, who used a baseball bat, and he said, I can't stop beating them.
Can't stop beating them.
They just dropped it. Oh my gosh. Name the guy who...
Oh, I didn't know we were going to get turned
go
around
ahead,
on me.
go ahead,
No, go
Geoffrey.
ahead.
No,
I'm for it. I'm up for it.
No.
Now let's have Geoffrey ask questions so they're interesting.
Okay.
Exactly.
What career did this is a Chicago question. Marx Brothers were from Chicago. What career did the Marx Brothers try before
Podiatrist.
vaudeville? Proctologist, no.
Political philosophy, Roman
No.
Marx. Right.
Marx, yeah, there you go.
Right.
They were chefs. They made duck soup.
Not
What did they do?
Farming.
Really?
They bought a
That makes
farm
sense.
in countryside Illinois so that they would not get drafted in World War I. They were not good farmers. They had a bunch of chickens. First of all, they weren't morning people. They're vaudevillians. But they had a bunch of chickens. The chickens wouldn't lay, and so when they had guests coming over, they would go to the store and buy eggs and put them under the chickens so that...
And a career in comedy was born.
There you go.
And from there comes the punchline, because we need the eggs. You know, my brother's...
Woody Allen,
Yeah,
pick
exactly.
that up.
All right, give us one more question.
What does
Geoffrey Baer.
WLS stand for?
World's largest store. Okay.
Why?
Sears.
Why?
All right, well, see, you guys are...
What?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's a Homer question.
What
That's
was
too
the
easy.
name of the movie theater that used to be right here at State and Lake?
The State Lake.
It's called the State and Lake, right?
It was a movie palace.
What
right
does
here.
WBKB stand for?
Balbin and Katz, because they ran the State
What
Lake.
does WTTW stand for?
Window to the
No,
world.
it doesn't, Dan. What does it stand for?
Wilmette talking to an actor.
Yeah,
But do you have like an old guy kind of way to calibrate it for young people that you talk to? Because this isn't like being a historian. I mean, I'm talking about Bruce here. This isn't being a historian. This is just being old. So there's got to be a way to discount the age a little bit to
we
make
do.
it fair.
We handicap.
Very good.
If you're young, you get 500 points.
There you
Geoffrey
go.
Baer, the name of the show is Where in Chicago. It premieres December 1st, 7:30 and 9:30 on your window to Winnetka. WTTW. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, thank you for
Appreciate
having
it.
me.
Geoffrey Baer!